Okay, so when you think about retirement, what are the two biggest things that come to mind? For most of us, it's our Social Security and the value we have built up in our homes. But what if we've been thinking about them all wrong? As two totally separate, complicated things. What if there's a hidden link between them that could change, well, everything? So let's start with a kind of wild idea. What if the key to unlocking all that value in your house actually has nothing to do with your house? I know, it sounds a little backward, but stick with me, because it might just be the secret to a much more secure retirement. For pretty much every retiree, financial stability really rests on these two massive pillars: Social Security and home equity. I mean, these are the heavyweights in your financial life. But for so many people, they feel like two completely different worlds, each one with its own set of super confusing rules and really big decisions. So on one side, you've got Social Security. It's this guaranteed income stream, which is amazing. But wow, it is wrapped in a maze of complex rules. And then on the other side, you have your home equity. It's probably your single biggest asset, but it's often just sitting there, untapped. Plus, talking about it can feel really personal and sensitive. That contrast really sets the stage for a huge challenge. All this complexity, it leads to a really big problem, a giant wall of confusion. And when you look at the data, you start to see just how big this knowledge gap really is, especially when we're talking about Social Security. Get this, a staggering 51% of Americans, that's more than half of us, have no idea what percentage of their retirement income is actually going to come from Social Security. Just think about that for a second. Half the country is basically flying blind on what should be their main source of guaranteed income. And it gets even more specific. 42% of people don't even know what their monthly check is supposed to be. I mean, how are you supposed to build a budget or make any kind of plan when you don't even know the core number you're going to be living on? And the confusion goes deeper still. A full third of the population isn't even sure what their full retirement age is. This is the most basic piece of the puzzle. It's the date that determines when you can get your full benefits. And 1 out of 3 people doesn't know it. Now, this isn't just about statistics on a chart. This lack of clarity creates real, actual distress for seniors. It's incredibly stressful when your financial future feels like one big question mark. But what if this very confusion, this problem, is also the key to the solution? And this brings us to a whole new way of looking at things. Instead of seeing all this confusion as a roadblock, some financial pros are starting to see it as an opportunity, a starting point, really, the key to unlocking a much bigger and way more helpful conversation about retirement. And here's the big insight. This comes from Thomas Dropola. His point is actually super simple. He says, just start the conversation where everybody has common ground. Social Security is universal. Pretty much everyone is going to claim it. And that makes it the perfect, non-scary way to begin a discussion. So the strategy boils down to a pretty simple 3-step process. First, you just lead with education about Social Security. You help people understand their benefits. Right away, that starts to build trust. And once you have that trust, the conversation can naturally grow to include their bigger goals, like what they want to do with their house. So how does this actually play out in the real world? Well, by starting with Social Security, you're building a foundation. You're helping connect a retiree's guaranteed income directly to their single biggest asset, their home. And all of a sudden, those two separate pillars start to look like they're part of the very same building. As Dropola points out, this connection isn't forced. It's completely natural. The moment you start getting a client's Social Security income organized, the next logical question is, okay, what about your other major asset? The two are financially tied together, even if we don't always think of them that way. And the ultimate goal here is simple, but it is so powerful. It's financial peace of mind. Just imagine being able to match up all your fixed, predictable bills, your mortgage, taxes, utilities, with a dependable, guaranteed income stream from Social Security. That creates a foundation of stability, no matter what crazy things the stock market decides to do. Okay, this is where it all comes together in a really brilliant idea called the bridge strategy. Here's how it works. You tap into your home equity to create a temporary stream of income. That income acts like a bridge, covering your expenses for a few years, which then allows you to delay taking your Social Security. And why is that a huge deal? Because every single year you wait, your monthly benefit goes up, and that higher amount is locked in for the rest of your life. So it's really a 2-part play. First, you delay claiming Social Security. The outcome? A much bigger, guaranteed check every single month for life. Second, you use your home equity as that financial bridge to cover your costs while you wait. It's the perfect case of one asset making the other one way more powerful. But listen, this isn't just about some clever financial trick.
At its core, this whole thing is a fundamental shift in philosophy. It's about moving the entire conversation away from selling a product and toward truly understanding the person.
So, what does that actually look like? Well, for starters, it means focusing on what the client really wants, which for a lot of people is simply to age in place in their own home. It's about building a real relationship based on education and trust, not just a quick sale. It's about taking a long-term view of a person's entire well-being. In this quote from Chris Downey, it really just says it all. The guiding principle has to be what is genuinely best for the client, period. Not what's best for your sales numbers. When you start from that place of trust and genuine help, the right financial solutions just naturally fall into place. So as we wrap up, it really leaves us with a big question to think about. In this world of really complex financial decisions, are we overlooking the most powerful connection in our own retirement plan? That critical link between our guaranteed income and our greatest asset?